Forbes India and ServiceNow present the COO Collective.
Hello and welcome to the COO Collective, an exclusive thought leadership series brought to you by Forbes India in collaboration with ServiceNow. I'm your host, Paramita Chatterjee. Today on the show, we'll be focusing on how to unlock growth by investing in customer experience, because the age-old adage of customer is king holds even more true today, which is the very reason why companies are leaving no stone unturned in delighting the customer. And that's also why companies are treating customer experience excellence as the key benchmark that they're all aspiring to, because it is reaping rich dividends. According to a recent report by KPMG along with Equator, they found that across verticals such as financial services, healthcare, retail, auto, media, telecom, companies who've invested on optimizing their customer experience journey have actually managed to unlock value of almost $200 billion. So clearly, there is a lot of absolute returns that companies can get by investing in the right strategy and in the right manner. Let's go across to our key speakers today on the show to really understand what they mean by building the right and intelligent approach towards customer experience in terms of their own companies and brands. We have with us on the show Jayaraj Shanmugam, COO at BIAL or Bangalore International Airport Limited, Dr. S. Prakash, MD and COO at Star Health, Abhishek Sinha, COO at L&T Technology Services Limited, and Rubal Sahani, Regional Director, ServiceNow. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us. So, Jairaj, let me start with you and let me just understand in terms of Bangalore International Airport, how did you change your business model, so to speak, in the new reality of the post-pandemic phygital world? And of course, the pandemic demands also of digital transformation. How did you change your operating model?
Couple of things. In March 2020, when the lockdown happened, and suddenly the airport came to a standstill, virtual standstill, but the airport was still operating because we had cargo flights, and we also had a lot of repatriation flights where people who were stranded overseas were coming back on international flights. So we had flights going. We still had customers, but not as many as we used to have before the pandemic. So in May 2020, when the domestic flights restarted, we had to reach out to the customers and tell them it's safe to fly, and all the improvements, all the sanitizing or the health-related work that we were doing at the airport, we had to make sure that we went on social media. We had to reassure our customers they were safe to fly again. And we were the first airport in the world to introduce the contactless travel from the curbside till the gate, where the government said, look, can we look at ways and means to remove any contact between documents between the passenger and the airline. So we got together, we came up with a new idea on how to make it contactless. As you know, Indian airports, you have to, when you enter the terminal, you have to show your documents to the CISF. They have to see it, and then they stamp the boarding pass, and then you go to the gate, they scan the boarding pass again. We did away with all the processes and made it completely contactless. And we had to continue doing these kind of things to reassure our customers that you're safe to fly. So that was the more of the getting back from pandemic to the post-pandemic phase. But as the traffic ramped up, as people started traveling, in fact, over the weekend, we have a 92,000 passenger travel on Saturday and Sunday. That's about 92% of our pre-pandemic traffic, daily traffic. So we are almost back to pre-pandemic levels. And so how do we manage the crowd? How do we manage the flow? If you will bear with me, for those of you not familiar with the airport operations, airport experience revolves around four main flows. The passenger flow, there's passenger coming into the terminal and getting out. The baggage flows, baggage coming in, baggage going out. The aircraft flow, aircraft landing, aircraft taking off. And the cargo flow, cargo coming in and cargo going out of the terminal. In order to manage all these flow seamlessly, efficiently, all systems, procedures have to be streamlined in order to make these flows efficient.
Okay, so we are going to ask you more, Jayaraj, about how you really went about making that process seamless, because that's a major part of the customer experience journey, and really making sure he or she is having that seamless kind of experience across those verticals you mentioned. Let's turn our attention to the banking, financial services, and insurance space. And we've got the MD and CEO of Star Health with us. So, Dr. Prakash, how did you sort of react? Because I know Star Health had already started its digital transformation journey prior to the pandemic, and there was a lot of talk about it. But once the pandemic hit, and now post pandemic, what are those key changes that you have made to stay connected and retain your customers?
In fact, when it comes to talking on customer experience, whatever Mr. Jairaj was talking about, an experience in the airport, it is a luxury. But the same when it comes to health insurance, the experience which we have to offer to our customers is a necessity, or it is our duty. More than duty, it is our responsibility. So all the more in health insurance, particularly, we are very keen on offering the best of customer experience. But if you see the facts, when the industry started way back in 2000, technology was not given that importance. We all thought that we can manage with the available manpower. But the scale and height in which health insurance penetration is progressing, naturally, companies today understand that technology, which used to be a part of the business, it is now the core business. And without technology, we cannot give that customer experience which we are trying to talk about. So the best of the customer experience comes in three areas. When it comes to insurance for us, it is sourcing the business, servicing the customer, and taking care of the operations. So the sourcing and servicing both has to be digitalized to give the best of customer experience, and the servicing has to be on the automation. We have to bring in automation in the operations. All our operations we want to automate. We want to see how we can introduce robotic process automation. So we are working more on automating the current operations, where whatever we have been doing, which is people-centric, we wanted to make it process-driven, technology-driven. That's one of the transformations which we have done, and we have seen a lot of customer satisfaction.
Great. So, Dr. Prakash, those were some interesting insights. Rubal, let me come to you with the overview, because we are hearing a lot of usage of the word technology. So, really, in today's sort of phygital world, as I said in the beginning, how does one build this kind of resilient, agile, and intelligent sort of a customer experience model for companies?
Well, thank you, Paramita, first of all, having me here with such eminent leaders from the industry. And I totally agree with what Mr. Jairaj said, and also Dr. Prakash said. Technology is today the core business, not just the enabler of the business. It is the core business. It differentiates, our offerings to our competitors, and also help improve the customer experience. There are two or three important points which I want to just start with. As you said, agile processes for customer experience. Technology helps in kind of bringing the entire organization together in serving the customer queries. It could be related to buying a newer service or a newer product, or it could be just an experience for an interaction or a customer query or customer support. Now, in ServiceNow, internally, we see every employee as our customer, and our engineering teams based out of US, based out of Hyderabad in India, we focus on every employee and give them a delightful experience so that they can go ahead and serve our customers to the fullest. Point number one. Point number two, there is a need today to not look at just one simple pointed solution for every aspect of it. Maybe just a better UI, maybe a chatbot, maybe an automation by using RPA, or maybe by AI, some separate tool. The challenge of that is organization incur a lot of technical debt because of that. Business are always ever changing today. There is a need for building an architecture on which you can keep on adding on the fly in a very limited time. For that, ServiceNow offers platform of platform approach and enable businesses to move in a much faster pace and bring entire organization together to serve the customer, to
Right.
also enable and equip the service agents so that they can serve customers better.
Okay, so clearly having one common platform, empowering employees. We're going to slice and dice this further. We've got Abhishek Sinha as well joining us from L&T Technology Services. So Abhishek, coming back to you, I mean, this whole concept of really integrating, all the experiences, all the touch points, all the data really onto one common platform. Was this also the cornerstone of your approach, both internally as well as externally for your customers?
I would like to look at the question from a slightly different perspective. See, if you look at the other colleagues of mine who just spoke earlier from the insurance sector or from the airlines, airport sector, the customers are mostly retail customers, right? It's a B2C customers that we're talking of. Whereas if you look at our space, we are in the B2B space. We work with the Fortune 1000 of the world. The challenges that we have for customer experience are slightly different. Of course, the technology challenges in many ways remains the same. So the way we look at our customer experience is in three dimensions. First, clearly, has to be people because we are in the people industry. The second one is the processes and systems, which is what my colleague earlier from ServiceNow alluded to. And the third dimension is technology. So these are the three dimensions in which we approach our entire customer experience. Very briefly, I'll touch upon each of these. When I talk of people experience that our customers have, it is extremely important that we have the right people in place, right skilled people. So we invest a lot in people in terms of the training, upskilling, cross-skilling, soft skill training. The employees who are closer to the customer have to be the people who really are representing the company in front of the world. So there's a lot of focus on soft skilling for those folks especially. So there's a lot of people dimension, right? So that's the first bucket of our customer experience. Because customer experience is us through these people. The second dimension is systems and processes. Now here it's extremely important that we have processes which are scalable. The customer does not feel that if this person goes away, the project will collapse. So it's extremely important that we have processes which are scalable, which can last the test of time. I'll give you an example from the COVID times. When COVID hit us, within 48 hours, for our top 100 accounts, we were able to send a plan, a disaster recovery plan saying your projects are in safe hands. This is how we are approaching. These are where the people are. They are safe. These are the systems which are in office, how we have moved to hub rooms in back home. And so within 48 hours, our top 100 accounts, which probably is about 85 to 90% of our business, the customers got a mail from us not to worry, while let them take care of their own organization. Their projects with us are safe. And that was possible because of the scalable processes we had. On the system side, again, extremely important that we have systems that are secure because we touch customer IP every day. So cyber security and the security of our systems, be it cloud or on-prem, what kind of technologies we put in place, extremely critical that we invest in the right technologies. So that's from and from an employee perspective, employees want the right kind of machines, infrastructure, workstations, fast-moving machines so that we are more productive. And all this adds to customer experience. The technology dimension is, are we investing in the future of technology? Are we innovating for the customer? Or are we just waiting for the technology to shift and then we run after technology? So we are constantly investing the future of technology for our customers' sake. Otherwise, we'll not be relevant, right? These three dimensions together creates an amazing customer experience for us. And how do we measure it? Through our NPS score, through our CSAT scores on a very regular basis.
Okay, and I think you brought up some very important points, which we've also heard echoed from the other B2C players, albeit you are a B2B player. But Jairaj, let me go back to you with some of the points which have been shared with the panelists. And first, let's talk a little bit about, since you are a B2C player, a very important part of your customer experience journey will be the data that you have generated massive amounts, many touch points, but more importantly is how well are you using that data to come up with the right kind of analytics. Would you agree?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, I think for the longest time, airports didn't realize the power of data and how to use data. A lot of data comes through the airport, but we have not really been harnessing the power of the data that we collect. 2 years ago, Bangalore Airport, we introduced a queue management system where we have sensors throughout the airport to measure queue times, waiting times, and number of passengers in a queue. And we use that data to see how best we can improve processing time. Because in the airport business is all about throughput, how efficient you are to bring a passenger from point A right up to the gate. And how well you do it, how fast you do it, affects customer experience directly. So we have invested in a queue management system and we study all the data. And now, 2 years later, we know exactly when is the peak. We know exactly how many counters, how many security lanes to open at what time in the day. We even know the gender, how many female booths, security screening booths we need to open because we know number of female passengers in any given time. So all this helps us to really plan much better, and we are able to plan our allocation of resources according to the data we have collected. So that's one aspect of the transformation in terms of data that we have seen in the last 2 years, thanks to our queue management system.
Indeed, and a very fascinating example of how you've been able to bring out those hidden patterns, because that's what companies are aspiring to. Dr. Prakash, I mean, would you like to add to that in terms of your own industry and company? Because AI and ML, we use these terms a lot, but how have they really helped you in delivering that seamless customer experience?
So it's helping us in a very big way. As I told you, like, maintaining electronic health records for the customers and digitizing the data, because we collect data from the hospitals. So we have slowly transformed the paper submission to electronic and then digital format. So once data is available in the digital format, we are able to study, we are able to track, and we are able to find out what is the pattern of disease, what can be the right line of management, and the extended length of stay, and we are able to advise the right decision to our customers. So artificial intelligence and machine learning is helping us a lot. Number one, to save time, so that at the time of discharge, when a patient is waiting for an approval for the insurance, we are able to automate and give them a discharge from hours to minutes to even milliseconds. So to that extent, the robotic process automation is helping us to service our customers without any delay.
We all know about those long waits that used to happen in terms of that final discharge summary being issued and approved by insurance companies. So clearly, AI and ML can really help in that aspect. But Rubal, coming to you, because really coming up with that effective data strategy and integrating data, which exists across silos for these companies, I mean, that's really the holy grail, would you say? And how does ServiceNow really help companies in doing so?
No, thanks, Paramita. I guess great question. So I'll talk about a few examples here. So we have Mr. Jairaj from Bangalore International Airport. So I want to give the example of Copenhagen Airport, which is with ServiceNow from quite some time. And Copenhagen Airport is winning the award of most efficient airport in Europe. 14 out of 16 times in last 16 years, Copenhagen Airport has been named as the most efficient airport. It is the busiest airport because it serves the Scandinavian belt, right? And they had a challenge that whenever they wanted to launch a newer service, it used to take 6 months because of security, because of the regulations, etc., etc. But when we brought everybody together onto the same platform and built a platform for them, they were able to reduce that time from 6 months to 6 weeks. 20,000 partners, because according to us, and as per the airport, they were basically B2C as well as B2B2C, because the revenue was also coming from airlines. The revenue was also coming from some business outlets which were there in the airport and the vicinity. So how we basically got everybody together onto the same platform, managing data and also restricting data from not to be seen from some person who are not allowed to see that data on the same platform, help them transform. So this is on airport. Similarly, on insurance, Swiss Re is the largest insurance company with more than 150 years of track record globally. They wanted to improve their NPS and wanted to improve the productivity of their employees while doing the customer service. So they have also used ServiceNow platform to be able to do underwriting in a much faster way, and at the same time elevating their customer experience. So they improved 20 points in their NPS with the customers because of the same platform. Similarly, in the IT services industries, Mindtree as a customer and partner have leveraged ServiceNow platform to deliver projects in a much faster way and in a more transparent way, in more digital fashion to the customers to elevate the NPS. So these are the three relevant examples I could quickly pick to share as per the eminent speakers we have today on the call.
Indeed, and these are the real life examples that we really want to understand, even as viewers, about how this really gives us those kind of returns. Because Abhishek, let me come back to you. Would it be fair to say that the last few years, especially perhaps the last 3 odd years, have been more about the investment cycle, where you invest in a lot of the, what you mentioned, reskilling employees, the processes, systems, and of course the technology as well. But now you're also looking at some of those returns coming in. I mean, perhaps you can identify, which have been the areas where you've really seen the kind of returns on investment by focusing, technology or whatever the tools available in terms of enhancement of customer experience?
Yes, we constantly look at the investments in technologies, whether they are giving us returns or not. At least the last few years, I can clearly see that we have invested heavily, especially in the SAP and Microsoft suite of products. We moved from the erstwhile SAP suite to SAP HANA on cloud. That was a massive investment for us, which standardized a lot of our processes by working on SAP on cloud. We are starting to see the benefits already. Many of the operational parameters in the organization have seen positive movement in the last few quarters that we have gone live on SAP HANA. Likewise, we are also investing on new technologies around Microsoft and some other Ariba and some other tools. When we invest in technologies, we call out the expectation from ROI that we expect in these technologies. Obviously, all of us know that not everything is in black and white, but we do make an attempt to call out what can be the savings. I'll give you one small example. A few years back, we realized that while there are lots of tools out there which measure the utilization of software, the normally available software products utilization, but very few tools in the market which measure the utilization of engineering tools. Yeah, because that's not a space where companies have invested in. So we worked very closely with a few of our partners, and we actually worked hand in glove with them to develop tools to measure utilization of engineering assets that we have in the organization. And happy to say that we have just last couple of quarters, we have saved more than 5 crores plus just because we are better able to utilize our engineering assets.
And the money is speaking for itself when you're seeing those kind of returns being delivered. Let's go back to the B2C space. And Dr. Prakash, let me come to you here, because when we talk about, one is, of course, the speed with which you're able to respond to the customer, and you've reduced those kind of processing times. The other is, of course, finding those solutions when a customer faces a problem, because we are also talking about not just acquisition of customers, but also retention of customers in their customer experience journey. For you, what have been those key drivers, and how much of it is because of investments into your employees and reskilling them?
That's a nice question. See, actually, if health insurance had hardly reached 10% of the Indian population, if this has to penetrate, and if we have to retain the existing customers and sell insurance on more and more new customers, technology has got a great role to play. Number one, we have to make the product, the features covered in the product, very clear to our customers. Number two, onboarding of a customer when they want to buy an insurance should be very easy. Tracking of renewal, you have to make it very, very user friendly so that they can do it online. And third is when they want to use their insurance policy, The problem here is we design the policy, but when they want to use it, we don't deliver the services. They have to go to a hospital, and the hospital has to deliver the services. So if we have to give a good customer experience, onboarding is 100% in our hand. Digital procurement of business is completely in our hand. But servicing, it requires a coordination between hospital, insurance company, and the customer. So that is how we are building our platform in such a way that from onboarding to utilization of claims, and in case if they want to come to us for a grievance, all those things we want to bring online so that the customer should have an immensely happy or wholehearted, soul satisfying experience, which we have started seeing the difference as we pitched into digital transformation in our sourcing of business and in our relationship with the hospitals and servicing of customers. All those areas we are digitizing one by one, and we are seeing the value in the transformation. The value is we are able to onboard more and more customers. We are able to retain more than 93% of our customers. Our customer base is around 75 lakhs, 7.5 million policy holders with more than 20 million lives covered. So if we have to retain more than 93% of our existing customers, naturally technology has a great role to play, and we have leveraged the best of it in startup.
Fantastic. And we love the passion with which you are addressing it and using technology effectively. Jairaj, let me come back to you and really, dwell a little bit more on the kind of reskilling you've had to do of employees, and how far do you have to go as far as employee reskilling is concerned, enhancing their employee experience, and just make that connection for us from EX to CX. And what are the kind of returns that you see?
See, during the pandemic itself, many of the employees understandably were concerned about their jobs, concerned about their livelihoods. But one of the first things that we did as a management team, we decided that we are not going to lay off anybody. We are not going to lay off anybody. We're going to spend the time during a lockdown to retrain them, to engage the staff so that when the business picks up again, we are ready to take on new challenges. We also started looking at the way work was done before the pandemic, the productivity levels. How can we improve their productivity levels without always focusing on increasing manpower whenever traffic goes up? How can we make them skill them or reskill them or upskill them to take on additional roles in order to deal with the post-pandemic boom in traffic? So a lot of emphasis was paid on training in order for them to take on additional roles and grow in their current career. So that's one of the things we did. And like I said, the assurance was no jobs will be lost, and we made sure that everyone was taken care during the pandemic itself. We gave a lot of support. The Human Resources Department were at the forefront, taking care of staff and their families who were sick as a result of the COVID. And we managed to retain all our staff. And when the boom started, sometime in the middle of last year, when the traffic started coming back, everybody were enthusiastic. Everybody was very much aligned to the brand and the brand values, so that there was no fear of taking BILE to the next level. They were willing to face the new challenges, and a lot of them were trained to take on additional roles and responsibilities within the company itself. So we didn't really hire a lot of people. We didn't really, because during the pandemic itself, we retrained and upskilled a lot of them so that a lot of them were confident to take on additional roles. So we didn't do a lot of hiring, even now with the traffic has grown back to almost normal, but we didn't go on a hiring spree to increase the numbers because everybody was confident enough to take on additional roles and bigger roles. So that's one of the things that
I'm sure your employees would be thanking you for it, and at the same time you have reinvested and reskilled them as well to use these kind of technologies. Because Rubal, now we are moving into the new world where there seems to be no looking back. I mean, there will always be a very strong digital connect and expectation from the customer who's also returning to the physical domain. So what are your pieces of advice now for these companies in terms of how they need to reimagine the customer experience, because the experience itself is maturing and moving on to a different cycle?
Thanks, Paranta. I guess very relevant question in today's times. So, a lot of people talk about omni-channel, right? That is given in today's era, that all the companies have to look at omni-channel experience for their customers. But there is also something which we are tracking, which is called as customer effort score. What is customers' effort in using every channel to interact, with your organization? Also, a lot of times we have also seen in our personal lives, when we are trying to buy something or try to reach out to an organization, either in B2B or B2C space, but when suppose in between we have to log off from that channel, and next time when we are reaching out to that customer or to that offering in a different channel, we have to start from the beginning again. How can that experience be consistent and we start exactly from the point where we leave, right? At the same time, when we kind of build these kind of experiences, when we actually focus on CX so much, there is a lot of emphasis on security and risk of the organization, because one mistake or one loose end somewhere can damage the brand image of that organization. And that is why in ServiceNow, the risk and security is embedded into the platform. And very happy to share with everyone that we are a Fortune 2000 company, and we serve 10,000 customers globally. Some of the very large organizations globally and in India, including the stock exchanges, use ServiceNow with that trust that it is secure and scalable, so that omni-channel experiences can be provided to their customers with a very less effort on all the channels across.
Indeed, and omni-channel it is going to be in terms of the way forward. Jairaj, we've heard, and I know you've worked with many companies internationally, both in the airport space as well as in the airline space. But India is always a very different animal. So, what are your learnings? What are your insights, and what are your predictions for the future, which touch upon all these key aspects, whether it is investment in technology, the matter of security and privacy, and really reimagining the way you stay engaged with your customer?
Thank you very much. See, one of the things that we often miss, we bandy the word customer experience. Customer experience is actually emotion. It's all about emotional connect. It's about emotions. And we Indians are very emotional people. How do we touch? How do our services touch them? Even if we are going to digitalization, how does that digitalization touch their emotions? Do they go away after interacting with your company? Do they go away saying, wow, I want to do business with them again? Or they say, I'm not going to buy their products anymore. So one of the key things I've learned about customer experience in India is about emotions. How do you connect with the emotions of your customers? How do you engage them so that they are emotionally connected with you as a brand? So that's one of the things that I've learned a lot about India. And going forward, digitalization is the way to go, especially in the airport business, in the airline business, because I think more people prefer to interact with the service provider on an app, on a mobile phone, or through the website, rather than meeting people face to face. Yes, you have still a lot of people like personal interaction with fellow human beings, but I think I see the younger travelers, especially the younger travelers, they are more comfortable doing all their transactions on an application, on a mobile app, and like I mentioned, on a website as well. So that is the way to go, and I think companies should invest more on digitalization. In the airport space itself, the infrastructure is fixed. Airports, the airline business, or rather the travel business in India, is expected to grow in the next 20 to 25 years. But airports cannot keep building space to accommodate all these passengers and the flow of traffic. So you have to invest more in technology, more digitalization, on improving the throughput. So the infrastructure probably remains the same, but the speed of processing through digital to technology will improve. And I see that happening going forward. The airports in India today are not the same as they were 10 years ago. You must have seen for yourself. You have biometric, you have contactless travel, and I see them improving. And I think that is the way of the future. And more investment into digital processes will happen. And it's already happening, but I think more will start happening.
Okay, I think
going
you made
forward.
some points that Indians are very emotional people. They want that emotional connect, but the younger traveler is happy with the kind of with increased digitization. But at the same time, airports, as you said, are a fixed asset, fixed infrastructure. You need to continuously look at ways on how to improve productivity while maintaining that kind of seamless customer experience. Dr. Prakash, do you find an echo in those sentiments? I mean, whether it's the emotional aspect, doesn't get more emotional than a topic like health. You still want to speak to an agent on the other side when you're undergoing some sort of health duress. I mean, how are you going to balance the two, and what are going to be your key priority areas in the future?
So going forward, I totally agree that what he said. Experience is more an emotion, and money is only a byproduct of our services. So naturally, we have to respect the emotions of the customer. We have to do a root cause analysis going forward using technology. We should be able to do a survey. We should be able to measure the promptness of our customer service and the effectiveness of it. So technology can help us off late in a very big way. So we'll have to talk to customers, talk to hospitals, talk to our sales agents, and the lakhs of advisors who are working for us. So we'll have to collectively get data from all these people and then find out how really we are working for the customer, how we can analyze the root cause of any grievance or unhappiness, and how we can correct our system. That's why, whenever we invest in technology and when it comes to customer experience, we always say it is an evolving process. It is not just a one-time thing. So naturally, because the expectations of the customers are growing, so naturally we have to build a very strong platform which we should be able to scale. And as we grow big, we have to see that every customer was believed and trusted with us. And because it's only signing a contract when it comes to health insurance, they are not buying any commodity. So it is only the belief and trust they have on us. We have to offer the best of the services and give them a world-class experience so that we continue to remain market leaders as we are. Thank you.
Indeed, that was a great sales pitch, and clearly that's something that all companies are investing in. Final word to you, Rubal. I mean, they say that what works elsewhere in the world needn't always work in India, and vice versa. As far as ServiceNow is concerned, I mean, how have you sort of differentiated yourself in order for Indian companies to offer that kind of differentiated customer experience?
A great question, Paramita. So, I'm a firm believer of, all the innovation which is happening from India. Our customers are first building products and services for India. And then, the version 2 of that, they are aspiring to take it to the global markets. And all of that is only possible when it is built right, with the design, right architecture in a composable manner, so that you can build on top of it. If you have to pivot a bit in order to enter a newer market, you can easily do. If you have to follow some rules and regulation of law of the land in newer markets, you can address that with the same platform. You cannot think of buying a newer technology at that time when you have very aggressive expansion goals, because then you'll miss out on the first mover advantage which you have built by serving the country like India, right? And it is only possible because with our customers, when we speak to the board members, when we speak to the COOs and CEOs of the organization, they talk about, for me, my 4 pillars of my business are very important: my customers, my employees, my operations, and IP all put together. And last but not the least is regulation, compliance, security, and governance. So all 4 of that ServiceNow provides in one platform for our customers. And they pick and choose and they build on top of it. They pivot the models, they address certain segments of the geography and build on top of it. So that becomes very strategic. And the most important thing is you don't incur any management or technical debt while building strategy like that. So we have a lot of examples where customers have taken that approach and they have built it for India in a very cost-effective manner, and then expanded it globally, and not look at very small programs. They have looked at big programs end to end, and elevating the customer experience, in the entire process, because customer service is the entire organization's responsibility, not just the contact center person's responsibility
Right.
or the account team's responsibility. It is the responsibility of the entire organization to serve customers, and for that we have to equip and make our teams more informative about that particular customer's personalized requirements and journey, and that is what we deliver with our customers.
Indeed, and really keeping an eye on all those moving goalposts, because you need to be resilient, especially in terms of security and privacy, agile, and of course, keep it intelligent, where they can sense and create that kind of personalized model for each individual customer. Thank you so much, gentlemen. It's been a very rich, very informative discussion. Thank you so much. We wish you all the very best in your customer experience journey. And we thank our viewers as well, as they joined us on this very special thought leadership series, the COO Collective. Thank you so much for watching.
Forbes India and ServiceNow present the COO Collective.